Hey, yeah, hello. Yeah, we had a bit of a stand-up. Welcome to the DreamHack Eizo Championship. It's, of course, the Eizo Open in Bucharest for the first time in Romania. You guys have been awesome so far. I know you've been very patient waiting for these games to start. We have the quarterfinals coming up, and you're not going to miss a single game from here on in. We're going to show you every single game live from the Turbo Hala right here in Bucharest. Before we get into that, though, let's have a quick look at the schedule to see how it looks for this afternoon. Eventually. So right now, we're just going to have a bit of a stage show. We're also going to bring up two guys that you might have heard of from yesterday, and we're going to chat about what happened yesterday and recap that. At 3 o'clock, Mana versus Sage, Blythe versus Freya after that, Nurcio versus TLO. Yeah, there's a few cheer. I know there's some local support for him. And Starnan versus Monchi is the last of the quarterfinals. The interesting thing for us is that, unfortunately, we have no Romanians left. But we do have 2 Ukrainians. Yeah, I know there's a little bit of rivalry there as well, so we'll leave that one. We'll move swiftly on. So that's the bracket right now, as you can see on your screen. We've got Zerg versus Zerg, Zerg versus Zerg, Protoss versus Zerg, and Protoss versus Protoss. Yeah, if you're a Terran player and you're Korean, you're going home. What can I say? If you want to join us, by the way, please feel free to do so via Twitter. You can use the hashtag #DHBUC. That's #DHBUC. Join in if you're here in the audience. Tweet at us, send some messages to Apollo and ask him to rap again. And generally enjoy yourself as well. So, right, we're going to move on. Let's introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to your 8 quarterfinalists. First up on the screen, it's Mana from Mouse Sports. Mana is unbeaten right now, 7-0, all the way through the tournament. Next up, the last remaining Korean is Sage. Already lost 2 games early on in this tournament, but he's fought back, and he's in the quarterfinal. Next up, some of you might know this man from just across the border. It's Blythe from the Ukraine. And he goes head-to-head with his compatriot from the Ukraine. It's Freya. That's the upper part of the quarterfinal bracket. The lower half looks like this. That's not Freya, that's Nurcio. Nurcio into the quarterfinals then after knocking out Giant. Here comes the favorite. Certainly has a bit of crowd favoritism. It is the German TLO. Okay, move along. There we go. So yeah, he's quite popular, wasn't he? The last remaining man from Scandinavia, supposedly the king of the north. He asked me not to say that, by the way. Starnan. And the last man in the quarterfinals is unbeaten here. It's Austria's Monchi. Ladies and gentlemen, one more last time for our quarterfinalists. Okay, so that's the quarterfinal lineup. That's what it looks like here at the Eizo Open in Bucharest. But what about the whole tournament? This is just one part of a very long journey to the grand finals. So here to explain it, take a look at this. crazy crowd here. Let's hear you once more. Let's make some noise. That's much better. You know, the guys online said yesterday, this crowd are rubbish. They don't make any noise. I think we're going to prove them wrong this afternoon. Before we go any further, let me introduce you to a couple of men you might have already met yesterday, but we'd like to bring them out to discuss what happened yesterday. Just give you a little bit of a recap what went on in the StarCraft 2 tournament. So first up on stage, please make a big noise for Jorasar. Jorasar, one half of our commentary team here. Have a seat. Yeah, settle down, relax. And the other man, I think might have shot up in the Fame League overnight. And there's a very good reason for that. He is the StarCraft 2 Vanilla Ice. Some people say that lightning doesn't strike twice, but if you clap, he might rap. He's Apollo Ice. Oh my word, Sean. So, before we get into this and we talk about what happened yesterday in the game, what on earth was going through your mind?
I don't know, really. It just kind of came out my mouth. There's no really other way to describe it. I couldn't hear the game. I couldn't hear Jorasar. So I just said and shouted, screw it, YOLO, and just went crazy.
And what's your thing with Romanian rap? Are you up for it now?
I think I could take on that guy from last night. You know, I was getting really into it.
Yo, okay. Moving on to more serious things, Jorasar. Yesterday, we had a great set of games in the group stages, first and second. What was the highlight for you?
For me personally, I really wanted to see TLO bring one out against Rain. I thought that series was fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. Hopefully, some of you guys did too.
What didn't you like yesterday? What annoyed you or upset you? Was there anything in there?
I tried to, at the end of the night yesterday, I tried to live cast the last game from my Twitter account, and I was a little bit worried that I would get banned for spamming. That was an interesting moment because obviously the concert was going on at the same time, which I'm sure we'll get to. And by the end of it, I couldn't hear out of my left ear for about 20 minutes. So that was an interesting experience.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. So Apollo, yesterday, I don't think we saw that many shocks, did we, yesterday? What was the highlight for you?
I think the majority of the tournament played out as expected. I think there was a few maybe mishaps, but to be honest, I think one of my favorite moments was watching a player from Bulgaria do really well. You guys may have heard of him, Giant. You know, the DreamHack Open's about bringing all these players together from countries. It's about traveling to countries like Romania, giving players the opportunity to play in. And for him to go through the second group stage 6-0 without dropping a map, if I'm not mistaken, that was really impressive. And that should inspire a lot of StarCraft 2 players everywhere to compete in these kind of tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. Bulgaria, of course, just 50 miles south of here, so we've got plenty of Bulgarian support for Giant. Romania, obviously, have lost all of their players right now, so who do you think they might cheer for now of the 8 left?
Well, I think the introductions of the quarterfinalists were pretty obvious. I think the crowd's going to be behind TLO.
Yeah, I think we just test that out again. I think that worked. Okay, so in your opinion, of the 8 players that are left now, we've only got 1 Korean, of course. We've lost 2 already, 2 Terran Koreans. Who's the favourite now for you?
To be honest, I'm not sure if too many people agree, but I think Freya is actually going to do really well in this tournament. I think he's got a very good Zerg versus Protoss. He may be going in it as an underdog, and not too many people think he can win it, but I actually think he can.
Okay, Jorasar, what do you think? Who's your favourite?
Well, I actually want to echo the sentiment here from Apollo, obviously.
No arguments?
Well, no.
I thought you were going to choose someone else.
No, because Freya he plays in an awful lot of online cups. And I should know because I cast a lot of online cups. And I was joking actually with him earlier. It's like Freya, Snoot, and Hyun are the players that I see in every single online cup. And he is one of those guys. He hasn't had that much offline experience, but he's just come here and stomped on it. I mean, he's really turned it up another gear, and I think that if he can translate his success there to here, there's no reason why he has to stop now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your commentary team, Apollo and Jorasar. And but stay there for a second. Before we go any further, let's just give you a very quick recap as to what happened in day 1 of DreamHack Bucharest. This is DreamHack Eizo Open Bucharest. Okay, it's time to get the games on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the quarterfinals. The first man out on stage is the Polish Protoss. Please welcome Mana! One question before you go out and play. How far can you go through? You said yesterday you could win this. Do you still believe you can win the whole tournament?
If I can beat Sage, yes, I think I have a good chance on winning.
All right, well, good luck. The last Korean left in the tournament. Please make a lot of noise for Sage! So, same for you. One question. Can you still win DreamHack Bucharest?
I hope. I hope we win.
He hopes. Ladies and gentlemen, Sage versus Mana. Good luck, gentlemen. Game one of the quarterfinals is about to begin. So let's send it over to our commentary team, Apollo and Jorasa.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the quarterfinals. This is where the tournament really begins. We've got 8 players, 8 fantastic players, heading off against each other. And by the end of this show, by the end of today, we will have a DreamHack champion.
That's right, and I'm really looking forward to this. We have a Protoss versus Protoss to start us off with. And it's going to be very interesting. The first map will be a Cloud Kingdom. Now, how do you read into this? Mana's come into this tournament. Basically, there are no monkeys on his back. He's already qualified for the final. He's done tremendously well. He's just on a roll, and he's playing completely carefree. Can he pull it off against Sage?
You know, Mana is a DreamHack champion already. He won DreamHack Summer. He's just recently got back from Korea, spending a lot of time there. Just came back last week. Had to play in a tournament that he wasn't properly prepared for. He just got off a plane, basically. Had less than 24 hours in Poland back at home. And now he's, had a good week to, get back into the time zone, to get adjusted, ready for this tournament. He's playing really well. He's undefeated so far in this tournament, which we have to, keep in respect. Mana's been in Korea. He's come to a first big tournament from Korea, undefeated. I think he's going to do really well here. And on Cloud Kingdom, I think he's going to really like this map. This is a map that you see pretty much one build on all the time, and it usually is going to be Blink Stalkers. A build, a strategy, a style he's very, very comfortable in using. He's got the fantastic control. His decision-making is absolutely perfect as well. But going over to Sage, to be honest, it's rather what can Sage do, because Sage, I think, is going to be the more dangerous opponent in this best of 3.
Well, here's the thing as well. Of course, Sage, for those of you who might not be so familiar with him, is called the Brain Toss in some corners. He really famous for his absolutely excellent micro and intelligent positioning. And if we actually get into a battle where it's something like Blink Stalkers versus Blink Stalkers, that could really come in super handy.
Well, let's find out, because we're now loading into the first game of this day, or of the quarterfinal, should I say. Mana, representing his team, Mouse Sports, and of course Poland, going up against Sage, Alt-Tab Gaming Sage, who's been in the Ministry of Winhouse for a while now. Got second place in their in-house tournament, which they had a lot of players come over for.
Yeah.
But this is his biggest stir within the outside of Korea, within the European scene. A quarterfinal place here within DreamHack. Can he push it on to a semi-final? Mana directly qualified for DreamHack Winter no matter what. Sage, on the other hand, wants to go further. He's got no boards on the board whatsoever in the DreamHack Tour this year, so everything is on the line. Currently sitting at 12 points, could go up to 20.
It could indeed. We'll find out in just a moment, guys, because we're into the game now and spawning in the top right position, ladies and gentlemen, as the red Protoss player representing Alt-Tab Gaming. We have our last Korean in the tournament. Give it up
for Sage. And his opponent, a very fearsome Protoss himself in the blue, in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Mouse Sports, already a DreamHack champion. We have Mana.
All right, so this is going to be a very tense map to begin this off if we are going to see the usual Blinkstalker play from both of these guys. Blinkstalkers is the best, or one of the best, strategies on this map. As we can see, the cliff face here is so exploitable. If you try to play any other style, if you try to go robotics facility, and you're going to play a lot slower but a stronger style, you will get outmaneuvered. And we'll have to see. We already have a gateway coming down here by Sage, a 12 gateway. Going to be able to get that cybernetic score down faster, be able to get that warp gate out faster. We could see 3-gate pressure. We could see a standard 4-gate. Anything could possibly come from this, but it usually means that it could be a bit of a sign of aggression.
That's right, and we've got Mana actually very diligently scouting, just making sure nothing popped into his main base early on there, not wanting to fall victim of any sort of cheese play. Both players about to complete their first gases as well, and Sage having his own scout off just to make sure nothing untoward is happening.
All right, as you can see, this is live from Bucharest in Romania. The games are being played out. You can see the players on the stage as well. Hello, Romania. This time, the stream didn't die, as we can jump back in and have a look at this. As now, as it's starting to develop a little bit more into the game. Getting very tense right now.
Cybernetics core about 6 or 7 seconds earlier for Sage at the moment. Nothing completely game-changing, and we have got a second gas coming in from him there.
Yeah, second gas immediately there, as we can see. There is actually no second gas down by Mana at the moment, but he does see his opponents. I'm interested in when that's going to come down. It is going to come down, but we see that Mana has 150 minerals spare. Didn't build a Zealot, didn't rush out the second gas, so he actually can throw it into his second gateway. So he's going to be opening up, and this is actually quite a cool strategy. You can open up with 3, all the way up to 5 Stalkers if you want. You can have a lot of Chrono Boost available to spend into those Stalkers. You can put a bit of pressure onto your opponent, and likewise, we actually see Sage doing exactly the same. So they're going to have equal amounts of units, though this gateway is a little bit faster for Sage at the moment.
Yep, and he's got just a little bit more gas on Mana at the moment as well, so potentially leaves him either a little bit faster or a little bit more flexible with that attack. We'll have to see if both players do go into that kind of Blinkstalker play that we were looking at earlier on. But in the meantime, neither player's really gone out to seek map control at this point. Everyone's just interested in exactly what's going down inside the base, and that's because both of them, nice one Apollo, have gone for those Twilight Councils.
The difference between these two players is that Sage did use an extra Chrono Boost into his Nexus, so he had a little bit of a better economy, which usually means that he may be playing the defensive style. He may not want to push across the map and may wait for his opponent to come at him, but we'll see how this is going to play out, as we do have Stalkers making their way across, and there is Mana's Probe. Both of them are going to play this Blinkstalker aggression. So it's going to come down to basically one thing and one thing alone, because they have pretty much identical builds or get into the same place but a little different here or there. It's going to come down to control. Who can out-control the other? Who will make the first mistake? And whoever makes that first mistake here is going to lose this first game.
That's right. A very volatile matchup, of course, PvP. The first mistake can quite often be the last mistake as well. We are up to 27 versus 24 workers at the moment in favor of Mana, who, like you mentioned, is going for just that slightest, more economical style. And we have got a sentry popping out now for him as well. So a small amount of deviation there. We have no sentry on the field for Sage at this moment in time. He's just going to continue making Stalkers.
All right, so that probe gets spotted. Can't really stop that because these units are walking across the map here, so Mana is trying to scramble everything together. And he's going to get caught off guard a little bit here. At least one Stalker's going to go down. They're going to take the fight 3 versus 3. Who's going to come out? A sentry comes in to add to the spice, and that's going to offer a little bit more DPS, and that will push Sage back, who has to run, and Mana's going to get a couple of free shots here, and he's going to bring that Stalker very low down. No losses yet, only in hit points. As mentioned earlier, it's going to come down to the very unit control. The difference between these two players, though, is that we actually see Mana with a robotics facility, and we do not from Sage. So Sage actually has more units to be made because he hasn't invested in that yet. As we can see, 8 Stalkers versus 5. Yep. Mana has to be very careful. He does have this force field available if he didn't lose the sentry.
No, the sentry is on top of the ramp and ready to force field. He just needs to make sure that Sage can't get an offensive blink up at the moment. He is actually back up to 7 Stalkers versus 8. And don't forget, a couple of Sage's Stalkers have lost some hit points. And here we go, 1 Stalker blinking up, the rest blinking up as well. A blink-on-blink battle commencing here on Cloud Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. Sage getting a couple of great focus shots off to start with, but unable to start his blink, Michael, until a little bit later in the battle, simply because we have him blinking up first and needing to wait for that cooldown. And Mana successfully holds off the attack there, but we might see wave 2 very shortly.
Yeah, and Mana targets it down, and look at this blink micro. Mana doing it so well. Sage equally blinking back here, and it is so close, equal amounts of Stalkers, and Mana is getting out an Immortal. If he can get that out, he will be able to survive the pressure. Like we said before, Sage had more units. Mana managed to survive that because of the Guardian Shield. The Guardian Shield neglected a lot of the damage output from those Stalkers, but the pressure is continuing. 11 Stalkers versus 5. A couple of Zealots being made. The Immortal is key. Without the Immortal, Mana loses right now. Look how far away it is from finishing.
10 seconds from the Immortal finishing. The pylon goes down, but there's still power to the Robo, and the Immortal's going to come out. Mana holds.
Oh, he's got to get that Immortal, though, to the rest of his army. Can't leave it out in the open, and now with that Immortal there, that changes everything. Sage has to blink on top of that. He's even going to get a free kill. Oh, 1 free kill there, but now with the Immortal down 4 mana, look how far behind. Another gateway's been added instead of a robotics facility. Sage is basically saying, hey, I'm going to come and get you right now.
Let's see if he can do that. The 2 Zealots positioned very, very well for Mana as well, trying to prevent the Stalkers from running up so the rest can blink up. And Sage at the moment on 50 of 50 supply. There goes the pylon in the back of the mineral line, and he's actually going home.
Yeah, and well, this is going to be very difficult here for Sage to play this, because if he continues to invest in the Stalkers with this 4th gateway, that 4th gateway, to be honest, absolutely useless in this game. He can't use it whatsoever unless he's going to continue to maxing out with Stalkers. The problem is 2 Immortals are out. A 3rd one is going to be constructed soon. Mana has an Observer with his army. He has Blink of his own. He can prevent any aggressive play from Observers trying to get scouting vision inside the main base. He can deny that. He's even using these Stalkers to come pick off a pylon, which he knew was there from earlier on. And he's going to get that off, and it's going to supply block Sage a little bit, but Mana could get caught out of position right now. He knows and sees those Stalkers. He's trying to blink back, or should blink back, towards these Immortals.
This is going to... Oh, he might be able to catch these Immortals. They actually Sage blinking back there. He's going to be working away at the Destructive Rocks. Might have had an opportunity to get a pot shot off on an Immortal, but we won't know now. He's still supply blocked, 58 of 50. This is really hurting Mana, up to 72 supply. And the Worker supply, he's 31 to 22, ladies and gentlemen. So the longer this goes on, the more resources Mana will have to work with. He has a superior army composition. He has got the Observer out as well. And he has the Immortals. This just... It's so difficult for Sage right now.
3rd Immortal joins it, and that's the ultimate difference between these 2 guys. Where is that 3rd Immortal? Needs to get in there. Guardian Shield activated by Mana, and he blinks forward because he knows with 2 Immortals and a 3rd one right behind, he can continue to warp in. And Mana's going to take this fight now. Is he going to be able to continue to hold this location?
An Immortal held behind those force fields there. They're not actually doing too much damage at the moment, but they haven't been damaged much themselves either. Now Sage coming in to try and pick off an Immortal. One of them does go down. A couple of Zealots moving towards the front lines as well, and Mana actually looking like he's in a little bit of trouble temporarily thanks to those Zealots. Sage moving forward, but the Immortal is still alive here. This is incredibly tense.
Oh my god, Mana loses his Immortals now, and Sage has a lot of Stalkers, and even a couple of Zealots in there. It's going to come down to control once again. These players are absolutely fantastic, and it is so equal. Who's going to win? This is going to come down to the very last couple of Stalkers, and Mana has to retreat, jumps back into the main base at the last possible moment, but now he is stuck a little bit. He doesn't have the production that Sage has. He has more pros, but it doesn't matter because the natural Nexus isn't giving him anything at the moment, and what he has to be so careful about is being trapped in his base and being contained. His opponent can have a better arc. An Immortal is desperately trying to be made once again here by Mana, who felt confident in that, but it wasn't quite close. Well, it wasn't good enough. The 3 Immortals weren't fighting from the very start. The force was absolutely fantastic from Sage, splitting those Immortals off, and this attack's going to come out. Look how many sentries there are here. He can easily cut out the Immortals once again.
Yeah, he's even putting a force field down, forcing Mana to blink out if he wants to engage his army. And of course, Sage would be able to pick those Stalkers off if that happens, so not willing to do that at this time. The Nexus is going to fall. What an amazing couple of minutes here we've had for Sage.
Oh, I mean, this is absolutely so close, so tense. Sage can fall back and expand from here, to be honest. And we'll see how he's going to set this up. He can't sit there forever, I don't think. He can kind of try to contain his opponent with a couple of force fields, because the force fields are always going to be good at keeping out the Immortals, but a Zealot from Mana gets in there and scouts. There's the Robo coming from Sage, so he is looking to transition away from this a little bit now. going to have to deal with that Stalker. The problem is, though, if Mana sees weakness, he can easily blink down from the high ground and jump on his opponent's units. If at any time they are lower than Mana's, he will do that. Remember, he is still at a supply lead here with a couple of mortals down. Sage continues the containment. And we'll eventually look for an expansion shortly here, but what a explosive game one. Look at, oh my god, Mana blinking out. Look at that. Sage is actually force-filled in the ramp, and Mana says, well, I can just poke out the left-hand side and get back in. And he does get back in. Very nice. That was a nice little pick-off off that pylon.
Yep, so Sage not able to reinforce quite so close to the army now in this container, and it looks like he is going to be getting prepared now to put his own Nexus down, and that's mission accomplished. He's trying to get an economic advantage over Mana as well. I mean, he is still down, 31 workers to 24, but once he gets that second Nexus up, if he can hold that up as well, he will very quickly catch up.
And to be honest, I'm not sure if he needs an Observer at the moment. I think in his position, he should be building nothing but Immortals. Immortals are going to be the key because right now Mana has 3. Uh-oh, I think Sage is starting to get a bit of wind of this.
Yep.
And these Stalkers can always retreat back. All right, Sage is finally going to leave and go back, set his defense up, has to start Immortal production because Mana can very easily bounce back with a counterattack now. He's got 3 Immortals, he's got a lot of goddamn Stalkers. Likewise, Mana can expand if he wants to. I mean, he's not in a bad position to expand from here. And he is going to expand, so the game will go on. He's not going to launch a counterattack. And with this expansion, oh my god.
Oh, that's a lot of sentries, and we could see a blink forward here. Sage forced to turn around and try and stop this from happening, and it looks like that force field will be good enough for now. Does lose a sentry, but is able to get back to his natural expansion okay. And no, you're absolutely right. Sage needs to get back and get those Immortals out. That little cheeky blink into the, blink out of the main base, just counting the number of Immortals there, which is what Sage was doing. Really, really good to gauge the size of your opponent's army.
And as you heard Mana say in the interview before, if he wins this game, he's feeling very confident to win the entire of the tournament. And now the rocks are going to go down, and there's an aggressive pylon Mana's going to go for. He's going to use what he has, his strength, before Sage can build enough army. It's 90 supply to 79. We have 11 Stalkers versus 16 of Mana's and 3 Immortals, which is a bunch of Zealots. The only thing really missing here is Guardian Shield. So, oh, no, wait, there's a sentry. Okay, he's going to have a Guardian Shield in a moment's time. And
Sage does have 6 sentries to 1, so he's going to have to use his force field so unbelievably well if he wants to hold off this army head-to-head, frantically trying to produce more. There go a lot of force fields, and they're good, but that's a lot of energy as well on the sentries, and they're not unlimited, man.
Yeah, that was a snap of the wrist there with those 4 force fields. Really fast, clean force fields, and didn't overlap once, but that's besides the point right now, as Mana's getting ready to put this pressure on.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, look, he's moving with his Immortals on the right-hand side here, looking for position. He's trying to evade the force fields. He's broken the high ground, and now he's broken the high ground. The Immortals won't be sectioned off as hard as they could have been.
And this could be, oh wow, we have the offensive blink coming in from Mana now. Sage having a decent concave, but the Immortals are actually getting shots off. They haven't been zoned out quite as well. Like the Zealots admittedly being attacked at the moment, but another blink in from Mana. And Sage going down to below 50 supply. All 3 Immortals still alive, still have shields. The first one going down now, but it's not going to be enough. GG!
A very good game there from Mousesports Mana. A very good game from both players. Very close, down to the wire. Micro, as fine as you will ever see it here from Romania. And Mana very happy with that win. You could see him smiling a little bit as he picked up that first victory. And the first blood goes to Mana. Remember, this is a best of 3. Mana has 1 more map. And then he is able to move on to the semi-finals. And we could, for the first time in DreamHack history, see a 2-time DreamHack champion here today. If Mana continues, he could be back-to-back with Summer and now here. Whoa, that history could be made here, Jorsa.
It really could. Let's see if he can pull it off with another victory here over Sage. But there was one point in that game where I think it's safe to say Mana might have been rattled.
Yes.
He had the Immortals, he had a supply lead, he had a worker lead, and Sage attacked anyway. I think we need to remember this. Not only did he attack, he killed all the Immortals and ended up on even supply. How on earth did that guy do that? Yeah. Amazing play coming out of him there. And of course, he didn't ultimately win the game, but Mana must be very, very wary.
Well, Blink is for the week, and well, that one guy's going to be happy because the next map is Ohana, so I don't think we're going to be seeing Blink here, or at least not by both of the players. I think Ohana is a map that is not as strong for Blink. Sometimes you can use Blink. Sometimes you do use Blink is that when you expect or you feel that your opponent's going to use Stargate play. And then if you know that and open up Blink, you can get a great advantage going into the mid stages of this game. But to be honest, Mana is very much so on these kind of maps an Immortal focused play. We saw that last game and how well he used them after going for Blink. And we'll have to find out what he's going to use here as we're ready to load into map number 2.
That's right, guys. The map is Ohana. And first, let us introduce the player in the top left, playing in the red colors, representing Alt-Tab Gaming. He is currently 1 game down and faces elimination if he loses this one, so he needs a little bit of perking up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Sage. But his opponent down here in the bottom right, fighting now to become a double DreamHack champion. Can he do it? He's pretty confident if he does it, if he passes this particular test. Let's see if he can take game number 2, guys. Mouse Sports Mana!
Remember, the winner of this goes on to the semi-finals where they'll bank themselves over 2,000 euros just by winning this best of 3 here. So a lot of money is on the line. And of course, we'd like to thank the sponsors of the DreamHack Eizo Open, Eizo itself, Logitech, Sapphire, AMD, Twitch TV, who just make this tournament possible. Throughout the DreamHack Eizo, including DreamHack Winter, there's been 1.2 million krona, which is roughly $180,000 through this year, put towards prize money alone.
That's a lot, man. That's like a swimming pool's worth.
That's a lot of money. All right, so let's find out how these players are going to play early on. Mana did scout the natural, just checking for any proxies, like he did in game number 1, just being very cautious. Sage is a tricky player, most notably known for all his DT builds he used to use back in the day when he was in the GSL, when he was playing in all these Korean leagues. But since he has been playing in Europe, he has not used DTs as much. But look at that, very early double gas again before Cybercore.
Well, you always have to be very diligent with your scouting, especially checking out a lot of those gas timings as well, just to see if your opponent throws something in there. And it's, especially if you're 1-0 up, a lot of mind games can start creeping in, and both sides would have their own respective reasons to maybe pull one out of the hat and attempt a bit of cheese. So always worth checking for if someone decides to go for a bit of proxy action. And it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen it, of course, today at DreamHack. So neither player going to be doing that kind of thing right now, though. We do have a little bit of a later gas coming out for Mana, but it does get there. And so far, aside from a bit of extra gas from Sage, production tabs looking fairly identical.
Sage does have a little bit of extra chrono boost too, so we'll have to see what he's going to use that in. We're going double gas very early on. It seems to be for Mana as well that this could be looking at a Stargate play. I mean, chrono boost into the Cybercore once is fine, and well, he's actually going for a Sentry too. So actually, while building a Sentry instead of a Stalker, it may start to lean even more towards robotics facility style of play, because getting out that Sentry earlier on means that you have 2 force fields by the time that anything can actually come to you, which before any tech is out, you could be weak. So options available here for Sage, and Mana is feeling this out. He's seen a double gas, he's seen where the chrono boost has gone into the Cybercore again, and likewise we do see Sage scouting out his opponent. Hasn't seen anything too drastic. Twilight Cancel is coming down, and this very well could have the reason of seeing double gas early on, maybe expecting Stargate play, but as we do see the robot come down, this blink play might not be as strong as Mana's hoping for here, because in a direct engagement, like we saw previously, Immortals will always win. And if that's what Sage is going for here, which it seems to be, I'd be very surprised if he threw down a robotics bay, but it looks like he will be just going for a mortal play. Well,
there's significantly less cliff face here, of course, on Ohana around your base, so blink play just not quite as many areas you can blink up and be sneaky. We'll have to see if he opts to combine that a little bit later on with observers, or what his plan is going to be. The robotic facility now about to complete here for Sage, and blink is indeed started immediately from Mana, adding on an additional 2 gateways.
All right, and there's an Immortal made straight away too, so we'll have to see how Mana's going to be able to play this out. There are going to be some weakness points of Sage. If Sage moves out, is on the low ground with just a couple of units, Mana can always blink in.
Oh, wow.
And there is the robotics gate going down. I hope that he's not going to start researching warp prism speed. There's always this threat of, because on a map like this, you may be expecting your opponent to also play Robo, but look at this Sage. Somehow, some way, got a probe in, and he's going to spot the Twilight Council very early on. He's going to see the chrono boost. That's a massive scout here for Sage. And that 100% will keep him away from Warp Prism speed and will most likely just build a Colossus-focused army now. But the problem is with the Colossus-focused army is backstabbing Blink play. You can never go for a movement out of one base attack against Blink Stalkers, simply because they always come and get you. As soon as you move out, they blink in, and the mobility of the Blink Stalkers is going to be very, very strong here. So Sage may want to try to play this with an expansion. I guess we'll have to find out.
Indeed, and we have a forward pylon going down from Mana now in a position where I think he should just about be able to warp in a unit on the high ground. The robotics facility is there as well. And no, he's just going to be warping stuff in here, so it looks like he might attempt to use an observer a little later on to blink into the base. But there are two Immortals already on the high ground here as Mana moves in. Going to be a little bit difficult for him to do too much damage. A nice blink forward, but I don't think it's... Oh dear, two Stalkers getting stuck as well. And that's a little bit disastrous for Mana, losing 3 or 4 Stalkers right off the bat, and that Zealot goes down as well.
This game is just completely taking a turn for the worse here for Mana. Basically, what he aimed to do there is he blinked one Stalker on the ramp and then hoped to blink onto the high ground on top of the Immortals, but he missed. He didn't quite blink in the right place. Having lost so many Stalkers now, the game completely changes. Sage no longer has to worry about counterattacks. He no longer has to worry about being out in the open. He killed like 4 Stalkers for free there, losing just a handful of Zealots, maybe just like 1 or 2 Zealots. And now look at that, he can move out so freely. And with a Colossus behind this, Mana can never expand freely. He has to be moving around the map, warping in more and more Stalkers to put the pressure onto his opponent. And Sage has taken a drastic lead in this game.
He has to be a little bit careful, though, because we do actually have an observer out now for Mana, which is hovering around that southern location. So if Sage decides to move out in unfortunate timing, Mana will still have the option to blink up. But as it currently stands, you're absolutely right. Sage just getting his natural expansion up now and feeling like he's in a very, very comfortable position indeed against Mana. Oh, a nice blink forward, trying to pick off the Colossus, unable to do so. Great force fields from Sage as well, picking off that Stalker. And Mana just continuously being punished for trying to be aggressive here.
Yeah, and he's spending all his Chrono Boost into Warp Gate, so even if he tried to build a Nexus, he will no longer be able to build any probes or a rapid concession anyway. And now we are going to have a movement down. A Colossus and 2 Immortals. Mana, how is he going to do it? He's going to blink backwards, and he's going to take so much damage upon seeing the Nexus there as well. He is in a bunch of trouble because his Nexus is so far behind. He was using Chronos into his gateways instead of Future using them into the Nexus. And he's going to fall behind in probe count. There's a lot of Chrono Boost available for Sage now with double Nexus down. Another Colossus is about to pop, and the time is running out, unfortunately, here for Mana.
Yeah, I think Sage can really just afford to be defensive here for now and just ask Mana, look, what are you going to do in the long run? We can see that his natural expansion is already mining, and Sage is mining a lot more than Mana is. It's worth noting that Sage does not have an observer out on the map, but as long as he's staying defensive right now, he really doesn't need one.
No, he doesn't. He knows exactly what he's playing against at the moment. He sees the continuation of Stalkers.
We've got a... Yes, and we do have a window of opportunity into the main base here. Why is Sage... As soon as I said he's being defensive, he moves out, and that gives Mana the opportunity to try and claw back into this game. Picks off some of the probes, picks off a Zealot as well, and now he sees the armies popping by. He should be able to blink out of there. Can he do that from that location? He's trying, and just about manages. There we go.
Good attack there from Mana. 7 probes killed throughout that assault. Nice little jab there. If we look at the probe count, 29 to 28. Basically, Mana just brought back the economy to equal. He doesn't have really the technology at the moment. As you can see, the very first Immortal coming out, and that's quite far behind his opponent, who's now taking double gases on the natural. And what we'll start to see now is thermal ants be researched. Most likely, even say, throwing down a second robotics facility as well. With a second robotics facility, he'll be able to increase this even further if he wants to. He can also throw down a bunch of gateways. With a bunch of gateways coming down, he can start to build a timing. In this stage of the game, when you are Protoss and you have such a big lead, you can do a couple of things. You either throw down a bunch of gateways to go for a timing against your opponent's lack of whatever his disadvantages in this game. For Mana's sake, it's going to be technology. Yep. Or he takes a third base saying, hey, how are you actually going to stop me from taking a base when I have the superior army?
And it's very difficult as well when you're on the same number of robotics facilities and your opponent simply has more robotics units. But oh my goodness, just walking that Colossi, and one of them does get picked off from Mana there. A little bit of a mistake from Sage. He still has, of course, a Colossus advantage, and he has started researching extended thermal lands, but that was a big pick off there for Mana.
And Mana is going to go ahead and backstab once again, as we now see Mana's face, and it's a very concentrated face playing from behind at the moment. sure as hell knows that he's playing from a backwards position, and he's going to move in these Stalkers once again. Blink's giving them the ability to try and crawl back in this game. Slowly but surely, probes are going to go down. He may want to blink once into the main base, get a bit of damage to them, then blink down once again. He's trying to talk down, gets a free immortal maybe here. 1, 2, 3 volleys go down, and he will be able to get out. Look at those Stalkers so low now. Oh, Jesus, he blinks on the Colossus and brings the Colossus down as well, and even escapes again. What are we actually seeing here? This is magnificent, because look on the minimap. That's where the real army was. It was waiting to trap Mana. Mana saw that the units were not there and realized that, oh, what a beautiful move from Mana, seeing the lack of units there, expecting the trap.
Oh,
and he's even going to blink away from this one as well.
Wow.
And oh my God, how much damage has he done with these Stalkers? But is he going to be able to hold on to this inevitable push that's been building and building and building? There's only 3 immortals. The resources lost tab has drawn itself so incredibly close throughout this. Only 1,000 different compared to 2,000 before. Can he hold this Jarosar? Because he needs to.
It's going to be very difficult indeed. Mana showing us a little bit of ninja toss skills there, doing so much with so little, but don't forget the bulk of the army, like you mentioned, Apollo, was still present out on the map, and now Sage knocking on the front door. His army supply is 61 to 46. He does have 2 immortals at the moment, but Mana has 3, and he actually has a Colossus out now as well. Don't forget, those Stalkers did so much damage against those Robotics Bay units. Sage now at 100 supply, Mana at 89, and he is looking for a way in.
And Mana's on 5 gateways compared to Sage's 4 here. Colossus is slowly walking his way across the map. Mana has another Colossus about to join his army too, so with 5 gateways and 2 Colossus, I think he's going to be able to hold this. He has a defender's advantage, which means he's spread out better. Sage has to attack up a ramp. 2 Colossus will do maximum amounts of splash damage. Sage is looking to do it. There's a pylon. He's going to go up here. Can Mana hold? Because if he holds, he's going on to the semi-final.
No thermal lands for Mana just yet. Sage already has it finished researching, so the Colossus can do a decent amount of damage from high range, but good force fields there, and Sage is going to have to walk forward a lot with that Colossus if he wants to break them down. It looks like he's going to be moving back at this time, and that gives Mana the time he needs for extended thermal lands of his own to complete.
Yeah, indeed he does, and Sage, I don't know if he's going to try this again here. He does have a pylon ready on the 3rd base, but is he going to try to attack up a ramp? I think that's the worst thing to do, to be honest, as Mana's getting stronger and stronger as time goes on, and Sage will decide to retreat and most likely throw down a 3rd base, but he is open to a couple of timings of his own. Of course, Mana now very strong with 3 Colossus, and in PvP, let me tell you, when you are behind in a PvP, it is almost impossible to come back from. And what we are seeing in this very game is Mana coming back from a pretty bad position, and he's brought it equal, if not in his favor at the moment, as he walks across the map. For the first time in this game, Mana has the table, he has everything in his hands, and he's about to put a bit of pressure onto Sage here. I'm not sure if he can fight. He's going to take it.
Oh, and here we go. A good concave there from Sage, but excellent blink up from Mana on the left-hand side. A massive flank, killing off one of the Colossi very early on. And there are 3 Immortals in the front of this army now. Mana using them to tank damage. The Blink Stalkers in the back. The Immortals getting very low. They both go down. 3 Colossi still in the back, though, versus the one from Sage. Another Blinkin picking apart the Colossi. GG! 2-0!
Mouse Sports Mana, what a good game, what a good series. Very, very good, impressive play. As he makes his way over to his opponent's booth and will go ahead and just say GG as he walks in. What a fantastic game. PvP at its finest on the front of a large stage, in front of a live audience. Mana's banked 2,000 euros. Congratulations.
Well played to Mana. This was the matchup, like he said before, this was the matchup he was a little bit worried about, and he said if he could come through here, he would be able to win the tournament. Let's get a word from him.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. With the winner, Mana, well done, congratulations. You said if you could beat Sage, you could win the entire tournament. You must be feeling absolutely awesome right now.
Yeah, I feel extremely great. I was behind both of the games, and because of my luck, let's say, because Sage was making bad decisions, worse decisions, I was able to win the match, and I'm extremely happy right now.
Yeah, the first map, I think that was an immaculate map, I think Apollo called it. The second one, a little bit scrappy, though.
Yeah, well, the second one, I blinked in twice wrongly, and he force fielded my Stalkers twice, and I lost a lot of them. Then, because he was afraid of base race, he came back from attack twice, I think, and he lost too many probes, too many just time, and because of that, I couldn't make enough Colossus to defend.
Well, congratulations, you are the winner. You are going through to the semi-final. There's a man over there with a sign that says, "Manum Batman." Yeah, there it is. This man's through to the semi-final, ladies and gents. Well done, Mana. Congratulations. Don't go anywhere. Another quarterfinal is coming right up. It's the battle of the Ukrainians, the battle of the Zergs, the battle of the Zerganians.